Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and today I want to talk to you about overstanding instead of understanding. To understand something is to kind of like dive into a situation, to figure out what went wrong, to understand why, to figure out, understand why we didn't get the outcome we wanted to, and to kind of like always get stuck in that situation and recreate an emotional space over and over again. I don't know if I've like said it this specifically, but each second you go, you create your own reality, and it's not like we stay the same all the time, and then it takes like so much amount of passion and work and so on to change, but we all the time we stay stuck in a certain mindset. We put a lot of energy into the situation in order for us to stay in this way. Because normally when we're all free, you can see it as children, we're all over the place with our thoughts, with everywhere we go. So staying in one place is not like the all natural state, but it's something we do in order to understand things, in order to figure it out, what has gone wrong, why are we this way. And this is a lot of TI things. Like if you have like an NI understanding of something and then you put TI into it as well, then you create a place where you have completely structured like everything that's happened. You know why people did what they did. You know why situations turned out they did, or at least you think you do, or at least I think I did, and this is something we commonly do over and over again. But if you think about it, we only do it in situations that don't turn out the way we want them to. And of course, like all those things that we understand, that we don't question, that we're just over it, we just don't think about it. Like, I'm not trying to understand why everything goes so great. I'm not trying to understand why certain things don't work out that I don't think about. Like, for example, I don't think about 6 feet tall and blonde. I don't think about it. It has nothing to do with my life. It's like, yeah, like, it happens. And they're like, for example, if I look this way, I would rather be like my chances to be a supermodel would be much higher than they are now. So, but that doesn't mean that I think and sit and think, why am I not like this? Why didn't I work out? Like, why didn't it work out for me being a supermodel? Because I know I'm a 5'3", 5'4", so that's like not even an option, and everything else that, body type, so like all those things, there's so many things we do not question because they don't bother us. And the question is, why do we stay in specific spaces and try to understand situations that do bother us? Like, why do these things bother us? Why is it not possible for us to completely overstand it, meaning we're just over it, as in my example with wanting to be a supermodel or wanting to live in China or whatever it is, like things that just, they're not about you. So why should you think about it? Very often when we're in situations, let's say your job situation, and then you have people around you who do not see your strengths, who do not understand what your qualifications are, who do not see what you can bring of value, and so on. A person who overstands it is somebody who says, well, I'm like, my gifts are not being appreciated here, my gifts are not being of service here, there's nothing I can contribute to this situation, there's nobody I can connect with, or not enough, so I'm just going to go somewhere else. A person who tries to understand it is thinking, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to gain that person's trust? What can I do to gain that person's respect? What can I do to, there's always this understanding about things that we have not like accepted within us. The more we accept of who we are and who we're not, the better we can really just completely be over it. This is something I've seen in like Christine Marie Sheldon's work, in Bentinho Massaro, Lisa Nichols, and so on. Always this thing of, it's not necessary to go like deep and try to understand everything. If we do that, then it's because there's something within the sphere that is not, that is not accepted by us. For example, if I think I'm not smart enough, then I'm going to put myself in situations where I need other people to prove to me that I'm smart enough. And of course, this is a vicious circle. Because if I go into this situation and I do not think I'm smart, and people will give me the impression they don't think I'm smart, then I'm gonna believe them and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. If I'm put in a situation and I think I'm smart, I know what I'm doing, and then there are people who treat me like I don't, then I just think, well, apparently they think differently than me. And that's it. And very often this one thing is keeping us from living our perfect life, which is the older I get, I realize it's about creating joy, living out joy, being like of high energy for other people around us, creating something that brings forward your family, your friends, your circle, your work environment, and just to like kind of like help this, help us as a society to move forward. And there's so many different ways we can do that. We can do it through like connections. Sports is just such a uplifting thing. For example, like I do not watch sports. I don't like play like football or soccer or whatever it is. This is not for me, but I understand how for a lot of people this is something that uplifts their spirit and their feeling of wanting to fight and achieve something. So for each one of us there are different things, but once we accept that the whole notion of it, of what we want to achieve, is just like have a happy life and create happy things around us and in our lives, the more and more we will understand that it's not necessary to go down each rabbit hole and understand why that person doesn't accept me, why that person does this and that. The more we can concentrate on this path and go like, well, I'm just gonna be over it. Like just in each situation, when somebody upsets you at work, if somebody doesn't accept what you're doing, if there's some kind of negative emotion that comes up in you, it's just like a habit of, I'm just gonna blow it up. I'm just not gonna think about it. I'm not gonna try to understand it, because like I can go for a minute of, did I say something wrong? Well, I didn't mean to. If you didn't mean to, then you just let it go. Like, because of course there can be things like, well, I didn't mean to be rude, but I was really, really rude and so on. But trying to understand why the other person thought you were rude and so things like this are leading us into the wrong direction. More of a thing is like you acting in some kind of way and the other person perceives it as rude. If you never had the intention to be rude, if your intention behind everything was all okay, then you just keep going. And if you were rude, then maybe you can ask yourself, well, not why does this person react the way they do, but what's the reason why I reacted this way? If I'm angry, maybe I just want different things in my life and this is something I'm not accepting, so I need to change something. But always this, well, I'm just gonna be over it. And it's always like, if you watch like the first videos I did where I talk about like getting out of this huge hole that I was in, having no energy and nothing like that, it was something like what I'm talking about now. It's just that now it's on a much higher level and it's much easier. So when I say, well, I'm just not gonna care, I'm just gonna be over it, each time I get upset, of course, like it was in the beginning, you'll have difficulties in the first times. The more often you do, the more you can let go of it. And there are two things that play a part in this. The first thing is just like, as I said, it's a habit. We have negative habits of trying to figure out what's wrong, trying to figure out why things are not working out, trying to figure out and so on. That's the one thing. The other thing is that we feel guilty for feeling good. Like, what right do we have to feel good if everybody around us is feeling horrible? What right do we have? And if we feel good, we're gonna leave, like those people are gonna leave us. They're not gonna love us because we show them we're like a mirror of what they're not achieving with in their life. But this is something we have to do. Like if you have both of those things in your head, the one thing is just a habit that you can break. And the other thing is that if you really want to be kind and not nice, it's not about playing small and making people around you feel less small. But that would be the nice thing. The kind thing would be, okay, I will feel the rejection. I will feel that they're not happy with this. But once I get myself up, I fill my cup up and I can overflow. I can give so much more to people around me. I can pick them up with me. But you cannot do this if you stay on their level. You have to pull yourself up and then you can pull the people up. It's the same thing with like narcissistic and codependent relationships. If you really want to have like an unbalanced person, whatever kind of like, if you want to bring him to some kind of stability, you shouldn't go into their world where everything's turmoil and hope that you can kind of like convince them. What you have to do is be very firm about your stability and then pull them up into your stability in your world. That's why it's so important for us to understand that we create our world, and people who are within our world, like they come to us and they stay within our world on like different distances, the better we can cope with that. But it's not us living in somebody else's world and then we go into somebody like person B and do the same thing. We have to find like a stability in that. And so when it comes to overstanding and habit kind of way, I'm a huge fan of gratitude journals. I know this sounds lame and you ask yourself, what should I do? I actually been starting to do this like a month ago, and I do it every day, and it's made a huge difference in my life. I just sit down in the morning when I go to work, or in the evening or something, and the first thing I do is I write down things I'm grateful for, and they can start from little things like I'm happy, my breakfast was really good, to like big things I made up with my best friend, and like my mom was happy today, and so on. Because the more you put yourself in the habit of this, the more you create like really positive situations for you and yourself as well. Yesterday, for example, I went outside and it was raining. It was just raining horribly, and I went to the supermarket and I caught myself smiling the whole time. I had my pink umbrella and it was just such a great moment. I listened to music and everything was perfect and I enjoyed life. And every time you're in a position like this, you are much more able to make other people laugh, to make other people happy, to make most of your life and appreciate life. So that's why it's so important to not really try to understand everything that deeply when it's not bringing you any value and it's not pulling you up. Like, I understand if we want to scientifically and intellectually understand something, but remember, it's just your third function, TI. You have to be more about creating positive outcome, and then you can use it as a side dish to try to understand things. But don't try to understand everything by going into other people's lives and then thinking you're gonna be all nice and pull them up like this. You have to do it through your own place, and that's why for me it has helped me more and more when I get into like situations where I'm kind of down, just like even for little things, like I don't even know, I'm at home in the evening and I'm down. I just make it a point to say, well, no, I'm gonna put on some nice music. I'm just gonna call a friend and go have something to eat. I'm gonna go and have a nice bath. Like I'm not how I used to be, that I think about, why am I feeling so down? What is wrong with me? Why am I not happy with my life? Stop trying to understand things and rather just change them. Like, you really, if you want to have a better life, it's always about action and all those things you do. And so having this in the back of your mind is just like a constant mantra that you like repeat to yourself, makes a huge difference. And I know it has made it for me, and that's why I'm addressing it. And as I said, I've heard it in like a lot of people's works differently explained, and they come to this point from different points of views. But in the end, this is what helps us all to kind of like get into a better frequency and more happiness and have like much more energy and influence on life and also on. So please like read on this and let me know what you think and what kind of experience you had with this. If you've already tried this for a while, and if you, like me, have a gratitude journal where you write down all the positive things and how this changing of habits actually changes your life. So let me know below. If you like the video, please like. Thank you so much for joining me today. Wish you all a great day and talk to you next time. Bye.